This film is brought to you by New York Life and its over 10,000 agents and representatives who offer you quality financial products and services to help you get the most out of life. In 1989, the San Diego Chargers will be led by one of the most respected football minds in the NFL. New coach Dan Henning possesses the background and qualifications that team owner Alex Spanos appreciates.
The thing I like about Dan Henning is that he's tough, professional, and very organized. He has 14 years experience as a professional coach in the National Football League. Dan has been associated with 2 Super Bowl champions in Washington and knows what it takes to win. I want Charger fans to know that this team will be physically tough and competitive. We're going to have more wins and more excitement.
The basic philosophy that any coach has is to do things well, where the team is well coached, that they're capable of doing the things that you ask them to do. I think we can be better this year than we were last year, and hopefully the next year better than that. The object being that somewhere down the road, and as quickly as possible in my mind, we want to get in the playoffs so that we can compete with those teams for the Super Bowl.
In the mid-60s, the San Diego Chargers boasted the most explosive offense in pro football. But while players such as Lincoln, Lowe, Hadel, and Allworth were busy scoring touchdowns, a Chargers third-string quarterback named Dan Henning equipped himself with a clipboard and a view from the sidelines. Despite limited playing time, Henning still cherishes the memories of his early years in San Diego.
This is basically where my wife and I started. We put everything we had into a 1959 station wagon and moved into a little house out there in East San Diego. My son Dan was born in what was Helix Hospital. It isn't there anymore. A little hospital off of Lake Murray Boulevard. You know, I substitute taught in at least 20 schools in the San Diego area, all the way from Chula Vista, all the way up to Kearny Mesa, down to Point Loma.
But the classroom Henning liked best was the one presided over by Chargers coaching legend Sid Gilman.
Sid as a teacher was probably the greatest thing that ever happened to me, because I went to school to become a teacher, to be a coach and a teacher. To see this man as enthusiastic and as innovative and creative, he turned me on to coaching, and I had a much better chance to observe and to watch and to learn than some of those players that were called on to play and utilize their talents.
Henning's San Diego experience was the starting point to a career in the coaching profession. 6 years in the college ranks were followed by pro assignments with the Oilers, Jets, and world champion Redskins. And when the Falcons' head coaching job was offered in 1983, Dan Henning was ready to take charge.
Come on, James, play the coverage. Can't get beat inside on bullets, can you?
Yeah.
Make him throw the fade. Play it. Hey, man, listen now. You can't let him out of the hole. You got to go down there and rip through and be prepared for anything. They're going to try and make a big play, but rip through and go to the football. Check Rick. Is Rick doing all right?
Yes, sir, yeah.
You keep your eyes on him now. If he starts holding his side, one of you two guys got to go in and give him a blow. You watch him now, huh?
That safety's way off inside, way off and outside, and the corner's kind of loose, you know.
Next time you get the call, talk to him and run it that way. Okay. Pop him right in the hole there.
In Atlanta, Henning was only too happy to pull out the stops and let the footballs fly.
Good job, man. Good job. All right, Billy boy, good job.
Henning's Falcons had both brilliance and balance, with the ability to run plays best suited to the team's personnel. Before Henning left Washington for Atlanta, the Redskins were world champions. When Dan returned in 1987, the Skins became champions again, right on the turf of San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium. Henning was the play-calling architect for Washington's 35-point second period in Super Bowl 22, the most explosive quarter in postseason history. Dan Henning hopes to make San Diego Stadium a permanent home for record-setting performances. The one-time Chargers quarterback is now calling the signals for an entire franchise, and he expects his plan of action to become the San Diego Chargers' blueprint for victory. With 4 victories in the last 6 games of 1988, Dan Henning and the Chargers will have some real momentum as they begin the '89 season. One of the club's strongest departments is the special teams, led by pro football's second leading punter, Ralph Mojenko. When Ralph and kickers Vince Abbott and Steve DeLine put the ball into orbit, superb coverage was provided by Leonard Coleman, Tim Spencer, Ken Woodard, Roy Bennett, and David Brandon. Along with 6 blocked kicks, the Chargers also led the NFL in kickoff returns for the first time in team history.
Here is Lowry to kick off. Jamie Holland at the 5, to the 10, to the 15, swings right to the 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. 20, 10, touchdown San Diego, 95-yard TD return, Jamie Holland burns Kansas City.
Another area on the upswing is the defense. Personnel moves, trades, and key drafting by Chargers general manager Steve Ortmeyer will supplement a sturdy unit that has already achieved positive results.
What you're going to see in the San Diego Chargers in 1989 is a very aggressive, tough, attacking defensive philosophy. We've got some continuity on that side of the ball now. We're going to plug people in to that situation that will enhance our ability to be more dominant and more consistent over 4 quarters.
The continued good health of defensive end Leslie O'Neal, number 91, will also be a major boost. The 1986 Rookie of the Year finally returned from a serious knee injury and finished second on the team in sacks. A late-season source of help came from 11th-round draft pick George Hinkle, number 97, who picked up 3 sacks in his first 3 NFL games. Hinkle joined a strong front line that included Joe Phillips, Mike Charles, Tyrone Keys, Carl Wilson, and rookie Joe Campbell. But team captain Billy Ray Smith and the rest of the squad know that continued improvement depends largely on one of the league's finest pass rushing talents.
Well, anytime you got a player like Lee Williams, he's going to be double-teamed. And they'll keep backs in instead of getting them out in the route, which helps linebackers tremendously. Regardless of whether they put 1 or 2 guys on him, sometimes 3, Lee was always going to be around the quarterback and usually on top of him. Lee always shows up in tremendous shape. He seems to get better as the game goes on, and you can always count on him in the 4th quarter to come up with the big play, the sack, cause a fumble. He's a guy that's always into the game, and that's what makes him such a great player.
In 1988, Lee earned a Pro Bowl start by finishing 2nd in the AFC with 11 sacks. 4 more sacks were wiped out by penalties. All this made Williams the obvious choice as Chargers Lineman of the Year.
He has that special, instinctive, competitive approach that turns the good ones into great ones and the average ones into good ones. But Lee has the tools to be a top-notch player at defensive end. He's rangy, he's big, he has long arms, he has pull and grab techniques, but more than that, Lee has some intangibles that'll put him on that pedestal that he wants to be on.
While Williams was leading the team in sacks for the 4th straight season, a retooled group of linebackers was just as aggressive. Newcomers Chuck Fawcett, Keith Browner, and Cedric Figueroa joined team tackling leader Gary Plummer. Their names might have been unfamiliar, but their hits rang true. What made the success of the linebackers even more impressive was the prolonged absence of leader Billy Ray Smith. Smith lost 7 games to injuries, and teammates such as Vency Glenn missed Billy Ray's many qualities.
I wouldn't say he's the greatest athlete, but he plays so hard, he makes up for it. You know, he plays hard, he makes things happen. He's smart. He knows what's coming and knows what to expect, so therefore he puts himself in the right position.
A healthy Billy Ray Smith in 1989 will make an already strong linebacking core that much tougher. And when it comes to toughness, they don't come more rugged than cornerback Gil Byrd, number 22. Byrd enjoyed his finest season in San Diego with a career-high 7 interceptions, 3rd best in the AFC. Also on the attack were veterans Vency Glenn, Martin Bayless, Elvis Patterson, Pat Miller, and Sammy Seal, busy on the blitz and lethal on opponents in the open field. With help from the draft and other sources, the defense should be better in 1989, although it will be challenged to duplicate the top performance of '88, a Week 3 dismantling of the Seattle Seahawks. The eventual division champions came to San Diego expecting an easy win, but linebacker Keith Browner and the rest of the defense had far different plans.
One running back behind Craig. He will throw. They got a blitz coming. In the pocket, throws, batted, intercepted. Picked off by Browner, 40, 30, touchdown, San Diego. Keith Browner picking up the deflection and going the length of the field for the touchdown.
Lee Williams spent as much time in the offensive backfield as the Seahawks passers, and the Chargers' rush prevented Seattle from scoring a touchdown. Four times, the Chargers picked off Seahawk passes, and San Diego's total of jarring hits far exceeded even that number.
Back to throw. Kemp looks, throws, end zone, intercepted again! Picked off by Gil Byrd, 5, 10, 15, fourth interception for San Diego, and the Chargers defense, which has played great all day, is going to win this game for them.
When the Chargers snap the ball this season, some young but talented building blocks will be in place for Dan Henning's offensive blueprint. And running back Lionel James recognizes the budding talent.
I think it's kind of like growing pains. I think right now we have the athletic ability to really make some big plays and to create a lot of different situations and give defenses a big headache on any given Sunday. And it's just going to take time for the younger guys to get more experience in what they're doing.
An improved offensive line will welcome some excellent new players to blend in with rookie tackle David Richards, veteran guard Broderick Thompson, and offensive captain Dennis McKnight. Mammoth tight end Arthur Cox, number 88, will add his bulk to the blocking scheme, clearing pathways for versatile runners such as Tim Spencer, Curtis Adams, Lionel James, and Barry Redden. While Henning contemplates deployment of his ball carriers, large and small, the coach may have special plans for the Chargers' most prolific offensive weapon. In 1988, Gary Anderson rushed for 100 yards 5 different times, and the Chargers won on all 5 occasions. As Anderson goes, so go the Chargers, and Gary can go at the opposition in almost any way imaginable.
With what we have here right now, we know that Gary Anderson is a very complex and flexible football player in terms of his talents and what he's capable of doing. He can run, he can catch. I've seen him throw. He's gone out as a wide receiver. He's somebody that we would certainly try to utilize to the best advantage of this football team.
At first glance, Anderson seems speedy yet slight, but Gary proved his durability with 225 carries, the most attempts by a Chargers runner in the last 4 years. In the final 2 weeks of the season, Anderson ran for a total of 387 yards. In both games, the AFC's third leading rusher carried the Chargers to victory, first over the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then a season-ending performance against the Kansas City Chiefs that made Chargers history.
The give, Gary Anderson sweeps right to the 5 to the goal line, touchdown, San Diego! 216 yards for Gary Anderson, and that is an individual game record, surpassing the 206-yard performance by Keith Lincoln back in an AFL playoff game against the Boston Patriots in 1964. Gary Anderson over the top.
The Chargers will be wheeling out more firepower in 1989 as they seek to improve their production in the passing game. The candidates include Mark Malone, an El Cajon native with experience, leadership, and superb mobility. Cannon-armed Mark Vlasic will also compete, relying on sure-handed Rod Bernstein, number 82, a receiver who can turn routine patterns into game-breaking plays. Speedy Jamie Holland, number 86, San Diego's leading receiver, should be a favored target for even more passes in 1989. Free agent find Darren Flutie, number 89, provided the Chargers with the possession receiver all passing attacks must have. And San Diego's prize rookies of 1988 should be even more explosive with a year's experience. Number 83, Anthony Miller, and Quinn Early, number 87, are both aware that when it comes to pass catchers, Chargers fans are accustomed to the best.
You know, being in the NFL, this is my first year, and I'm just working hard. Things are coming along pretty nicely. The Chargers have always had a tradition of great receivers, and hopefully I can just keep that going.
So far, Quinn Early has lived up to that pledge. Paired with Miller, the two young talents are blessed with unlimited skills.
Those two guys have more athletic ability than anyone on the football field. They have great speed, great hands, and both are fairly intelligent guys. I can see those guys as a young Wes Chandler, Charlie Joyner, John Jefferson type because of their athletic ability.
The potential for an explosive aerial attack is something Anthony Miller recognizes, and he knows he's in the perfect spot to make it happen.
I think it's a great place. The fans are really great, and I knew once I went down there they would be throwing the ball because they're known for putting the ball up, and I was just really happy just to be a part of that.
The Chargers were happy to have Miller against the Rams in Week 12. San Diego's most impressive performance of the '88 season.
It's short. Going to be grabbed there by the up man at the 8 to the 10 to the 15 to the 20. Finds the seam. Here he comes. 25-30 to the 40. Anthony Miller, 50. 20, 10, touchdown San Diego. Anthony Miller takes it coast to coast.
The Chargers demolished a quality playoff team with strong performances on both sides of the football. The 38-24 victory was the high point of a late season rush that should bolster the team's confidence as it looks to 1989.
Straight ahead, Charles White fumbles it, stolen away, Browner, 30, 35, 40, 45, laterals with Sammy Seal. 10, 5, touchdown, San Diego!
The San Diego Chargers know there is work to be done, but now there is a blueprint, drawn up by a man who once wore the lightning bolt himself.
I would like to leave this situation someday the way I found it. A championship team in 1963 is the way I found this franchise, and someday I'd like to leaving a championship team behind.
This video is part of a complete blockbuster lineup of NFL films capturing pro football's greatest plays and biggest heroes with crunches, follies, highlights, and Super Bowl hits, plus new releases each season. We've got action-packed videos of every superstar team in the NFL. Call 1-800-NFL-TAPE now for a free catalog and order your NFL hit today. Or look for NFL films at your nearby video store. The season's never over with NFL Films and Fox Hills Video.